Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever said that language and communication are key factors in our social setup was a genius. Actually, vocabulary plays a really important role and significant role in the formation of language. Your vocabulary changes your perception of life and your culture and changes it has undergone over the years. In order to know more about the role of translation, we want to know more about its role in spreading our culture and history worldwide. We are very much honored to have with us here our distinguished guest, Dr. Heba Izzeddin, writer and translator. Thank you very much, Dr. Heba, for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Now, Dr. Heba, would you tell us more about the role of translation in introducing our history to the whole world?
Of course, the role of translation is really important in transferring the cultures, the civilization between the nations and between the countries. Actually, without translation, we couldn't have been read the civilizations and the cultures of the other countries, their ancient life, their customs, what are they doing, their history. Without translation, we couldn't have read all of those cultures. So translation is, in my point of view, is the pillar, is the pivotal role in transferring the cultures through translating all of those books of the ancient nations.
Now, in Egypt, every year there is a new archaeological discovery that always dazzles the world. Do you think that those discoveries were well introduced to the world, and what was the role of translation in this regard?
Of course, the Egyptology, the science of studying the ancient Egyptian life. Of course, when we are reading some of those books, they are translated by the Egyptian translators, or translated into other languages, so we could know our history, so that we can keep and we can preserve our identity. So the cultures and the peoples, they are in need to read more of the books about their history, so that they can preserve their identity and they can also identify their future aspects, so they can be successful. So reading the books translated by other writers or by other translators from the Asian nations is really important, and the translation role is really important, and main role in transferring all of those cultures.
Dr. Heba, from your own point of view, who is the Egyptologist that you would give credit for telling the world about the ancient Egyptian civilization? Who played the most important role?
Well, in my point of view, he's Taha Hussein. Taha Hussein is one of the, I can say, the writer. He transferred, when you read his writings, his books, you can imagine the old Egyptian countryside, you can imagine the old Egyptian life, not only while we are watching the old movies. No, the books, in my point of view, the books of Taha Hussein, it gives us glimpse of the old Egyptian life. We can imagine it, we can enjoy it. So I think he's the Egyptologist, in my point of view. He transferred this culture.
You regard him as an Egyptologist, not only as a writer.
Yes, of course, because you can see that this person is like, he's a representative of Egyptian life, and he can, in addition of his writings, he also can be an Egyptologist, because he traveled to other countries and he transferred the Egyptian life, in terms of cultures, in terms of their customs, in terms of his writings as well.
Okay, what are the most important books that told the world about the Egyptian culture and history?
Well, in my point of view, I cannot say that there are some specific books, but in my point of view, all the books, like for example, I have read so many books about Egyptology, and there are some specific books, like huge books about Egyptology. So those books are the books reading the points and views of Egyptian life. In addition to this, I have attended so many seminars seminars, and I have read so many books related to, you can say, like the routine life of Egyptians. In my point of view, the idioms, the proverbs of Egyptian life, it has been radically changed from the old until now, and will change in the future. What are our grandfathers and grandmothers say for this word, or how they say some of the idioms? So this gives us like enjoyment of the language of their language, and the language of their routine life. So we really enjoy it, because as a translator, we are focusing on some proverbs and some words. Yes, it has been changed. It was old. It was present. It was like daily life now, trends.
From a linguistic point of view and from a cultural point of view as well.
Yes, of course. Linguistic point of view, we are seeing that so many words have been changed.
And so many words are still existing. I mean, surprisingly, we have found out that in our daily life we use some words that date back to the ancient Egyptian times. I have read that.
Yes, of course, yes. Some words we cannot consider, like, for example, the time of when we were under the colonization of the British people. For example, there is a very nice example. The old people say this is the tea of the midday tea. And this is actually British tea, so we take it from our grandmothers, and we didn't know that this was a kind of culture. Also, so many proverbs, so many words, yes, still used until today, but other words vanished and not used until today. So it's really, from a linguistic point of view, it has cultural aspects. And it has also, like, we can say we're preserving our identity. When we keep some words, they have very added values.
What are the most important books that actually told the world about ancient Egyptian history and Egyptian civilization?
Well, yes, as I mentioned, the book of Egyptology and Egyptian, it reads and it talks about the old Egyptian life. Those series of books, they are considering the science of Egypt. And the name of the book itself, Egyptology, it gives us, like, when I read it, I just, it was translated into English. And when I read it, I see that it can give introduction to the foreigners about Egyptian life, not only the old life, but also the present life, in terms of everything, like customs, like their cultural aspects, like their food, their likes and dislikes, taboos, and everything about Egyptian life. Actually, this book, I like it so much. Egyptology is actually the book that I'm always, when I meet anyone in my job, they want to see more and they want to read more about Egypt, I can recommend this book for them.
Perhaps thanks to translation, we know everything about ancient Egypt and the ancient Egyptian civilization. When the Rosetta Stone was discovered, without actually translating the everything on it, we wouldn't have known anything about our civilization. So one of the main blessings in our life, we could say, it's translation, right?
Yes, of course, translation, because the translator is transferring cultures. If I didn't find a Spanish, a Russian translator for the Egyptology book, we could not transfer our culture to others. And if we couldn't transfer our cultures to other people, to other nations, we cannot have a specific identity. We cannot have our Egyptian lifestyle, Egyptian aspects. We cannot have it.
Actually, the foreigners I met here in the museum from France, from Spain, from different countries, they have read about Egypt in their own languages, and that's why they were excited to come and see everything in real life. So that's the role of translation, I guess, here.
Yes, of course, and also another role, translation trances the economy and the economic improvement. Without translating some of the Egyptian life, some of the aspects, not only the known coastal areas, also other areas. They have, like here the museum, it is well known, but also there are other places without translating them, without like introducing them in those other languages to the foreigners. Yes, of course, they wouldn't be come here, and of course the economy will be stable, not will be improved.
I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Heba Izzeddin, writer and translator. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.